Yeah, so I have started the recording. Let me join with my other system and then we can get started. Okay, perfect. Let's get started. Okay, so we are here to start something new today. We are done with our basic overview. So as I said that in section A of this course, we will be dealing with basic overview and basic concepts. So we are done with the overview. Now we are starting with the basic concepts. So here is a quick list for you. These are the concepts that we'll be trying to cover up. Most of these we'll try to cover up in our course. And what these concepts are all about. Basically, these concepts are going to form the basic argument or conceptual understanding based on which whenever we see later on that do a treatment of this manner, send this item here or send it this item somewhere there, the reasoning for that is going to come from these concepts. So at an argumentative level, these concepts are going to tell us that which treatment is appropriate and which other treatment is inappropriate and why. Okay, so we are basically building our arguments for preparation of financial statement via or with the help of these basic concepts. So let's get started. We have first one, really easy one to discuss, money measurement. Pretty simple. Money measurement concept says that in financial statements, we would want to discuss only those aspects of business which can be expressed in monetary terms. Basically, if something which cannot be expressed in monetary terms, we will not discuss those here. That's what it means. Pretty simple, very simple sentence to make. Now, rather than me telling, let us try to think as a class that can you think of some of the issues that it will bring or some of the benefits that can arise because of us having this concept, that we are saying that only monetary terms will be recorded, nothing else will be recorded. What does it imply for us? Yeah, go ahead. Ananta, go ahead.
So, it becomes easier to benchmark and compare performances, sir, because that's the most tangible benefit one can think of.
Okay, benchmark and compare. Benchmark and compare. Perfect.
And just ascertaining results in general, sir, it becomes easier when you do it monetarily.
Okay, comparison is easy. What else? Today, unfortunately, I don't have access to all your names. So what's happening is that in your ID, your first names are not coming, your roll numbers are coming. And it sounds really ridiculous that if I say PGP 37331 speak up, so if you guys can change your user names, the display names, I don't know whether it is doable or not, then do it. Otherwise, that whatever you want us to be want us to call you. Okay, so for the timing, PGP 37322, go ahead.
So the different facts of business can be measured.
Okay, so measurement. Okay, measurement is easy. Okay, measurement is easy. Fine.
Yeah.
What else?
Sir, everything in a business can be attached to a tangible value or a quantifier.
Okay, the question we are asking is then why is a good thing, or is it a good thing or a bad thing? You can tell in either.
So most of the times when somebody is trying to evaluate a certain business entity, tangible values can be good, but I wouldn't say completely.
Okay, that's like
a lot of things cannot be captured in terms of monetary terms itself.
Okay, so your point is like a demerit that a lot of things are not captured. Okay, I fine. Then what do we lose because of that? Okay, anybody else? 299, go ahead.
It does not give an appropriate estimation because there are some things that we cannot calculate via money, say brand value or things like that.
So some crucial aspects like brand value and others, brand value, for example, employee relationship, customer relationship, then general reputation in the market. These may be very crucial factors, but these factors are not recorded because you have this restriction of money measurement. What does it say? It says that we will record only those aspects which can be measured in monetary terms. Fine. So huge limitation. Everybody understands. But then why have it? Yeah. Go ahead, Ananta. Go ahead.
Sorry, sir. I didn't.
Okay. Ayushi, go ahead.
So it can help us avoid any confusion. Let's say if we say a company is doing good, so there has to be some quantitative aspect to it. Ki kitna good, something like that.
So basically, you can quantify the improvements, or deterioration, both ways. That you can say that the company has improved 20% or fallen down 20%. Okay. Simply saying that company is doing good can be very vague. So also provide, or rather reduce vagueness or provide certain clarity. Okay, fine. Anybody else? Yeah, Madan Kishore, go ahead.
It is also a metric of trying to understand how much recovery can happen if the company collapses or it fails.
Okay, give us an example.
So if we are to imagine that let us say Tata Steel is to go bankrupt tomorrow, then going through its balance sheet, you can understand how much is the fixed assets they have.
Basically, what he's saying is that you can find the extent of the decisions in quantifiable terms. For example, if you improve your sales by 30%, only then you are going to survive. Or let us say, if by any chance your sales fall by 30%, you are going to get out of the business. So these measurable decision pointers can be available when you restrict yourself to monetary terms. Otherwise, push your sales is very vague decision to tell to anybody. Okay, fine, point taken. Vrashali, go ahead.
So to add to Ayushi's points, it can also be a metric to compare between two companies. Let's say this company is doing better than XYZ company.
Okay, so this point is already taken up, but valid point. Basically, you can benchmark yourself and compare. Compare with what? Compare with your own past or compare with your peers. All these kind of comparisons are possible. For example, let us say somebody says that Tata Motors has 200 square kilometer of land and 50 trucks. Let us say this is the asset that they have. Versus Maruti Suzuki has, let us say, two-story building, and let us say 80 cars. Now, which one is the bigger business, or by what amount, or by what scale? You have no clue. You cannot compare these two. Once you say that the value of this business is, let us say, 800 crore rupees, and the value of this business is, let us say, 720 crore rupees. Now you can compare them. Similarly, you can compare their own past. That last year Tata Motors had a combined asset profile of, let us say, 620 crore rupees, but this year they have gone up to 800 crore rupees. So you can give some certain commentary about this. But simply saying that square foot is this much, trucks is this much, it can get very complicated. So comparison, especially to be more specific, comparison with vis-a-vis your own past and vis-a-vis your peers is much more easier when you have same yardstick. And that yardstick is money. Okay, any other benefit or drawbacks? Yeah, Varsha, go ahead.
Yeah, so one more benefit can be that it gives whatever the business is trying to convey very objectively, and there is no room for false opinions or judgments.
Basically reduced subjectivity. That when somebody say that we are doing really good, we are performing really bad, or we are like best in the society, that is very subjective. But when you say that our sales were 100 crore rupees and from there we have reached to 230 crore rupees, now it is very objective. Everybody understands exactly what you mean. So reduced subjectivity. Now here once again our first caveat applies, that we are trying to reduce subjectivity by this measurement, money measurement concept. We will see later on that we will not be able to reduce it to zero, to a level zero, that there is no subjectivity. There's still some subjectivity, but it is so much better than making these kind of statements that we are really good in work culture. Yeah, Shashwat, go ahead.
So it's sometimes problematic when we have to measure environment, political or social impact.
Okay, and then? What do you want to conclude with that?
So it's always not good money measurement when we have to like quantify things like environmental impact.
Okay, Shashwat, let me tell you something. This one doesn't mean that you try to imagine all the qualitative factors and put a monetary terms to that. That's not what we are saying. For example, let us say somebody is saying that, okay, our employee relationship is really good. Then it is not important for you to, in order to, when you are preparing the financial statement, find out that, okay, 20 crore rupees is the value of our good employee motivation. That's not what we are doing. We are saying that because employee motivation cannot be put in monetary terms, we will not even record employee motivation. In fact, this is a good place for me to tell you that you would have already done this exercise. You would have seen that annual report as a document runs into hundreds of pages. Of that, financial statement is just one small segment. Now, what other stuff are written in an annual report? Highly likely, most of these are those information which might not have directly entered into the financial statements. They might be talking about that as a business, we got some patent right, we got certain approvals, we got certain patent right, we got certain approvals from the government, we have signed a joint venture with somebody, or somebody has just done the most clean energy business of some specific region, all these stuff. Very specifically, there is a section in annual report. In general annual report contains all these records, but there is a very specific section called management discussion and analysis. So obviously this is the next exercise for you, that go and refer back to the annual reports you guys would have downloaded. In general, check the content, check the introduction, check some other different pages. They would be also talking about legal cases. They will be talking about the future outlook. Apart from that, one section would be, in general, it is called management discussion and analysis. Go ahead and check what does it contain. A majority of the content of management discussion and analysis is to avoid the shortcoming that is driven by the money measurement restriction in financial statement. That financial statements are important. They give us a lot of information, but they are not exhaustive information. There might be a lot of other crucial information that we still need to inform to all the stakeholders. So for that, you have other pages in annual reports and report it there. But in financial statements, we will restrict only to monetary terms. Why do we do this? These are the benefits because of which we do this. That now we can compare, we can reduce subjectivity, we can measure, we can verify, we can go ahead and check. There is a clarity in terms, in values, or in understanding. There is a uniformity. There is addition and subtraction. You can add and subtract. For example, one good performance and one very good performance, you cannot add them up. One motivated employee and one a little bit less motivated employee, you cannot add or subtract, but you can add 50 crore rupees of a machine versus 200 crore rupees of land. This gives us total of 250 crore rupees of assets. So addition subtraction also becomes possible when you have money management concept. Yeah, Rajguru, go ahead.
A drawback would be user experience or customer satisfaction could be.
Drawback is pretty simple. I can just summarize it in one point, that a lot of qualitative aspects are missed out. All the qualitative, or rather most of the qualitative aspects of the business are missed out. So the more important these qualitative aspects are for any business, more imperative it is for you to get more information apart from the financial statements. Okay, so financial statement analysis professor should not behave like a megalomaniac that if you studied this, you know everything about the company. No, you need to understand that this gives us a lot of information, but this is not exhaustive set of information. Apart from understanding and analyzing financial statement, if you want to know about the company, you may need to get certain more information about the company. Highly likely, most of these information would be qualitative information. Okay. Yeah, question 327, go ahead.
Sir, this risk assessment will come under this?
Risk assessment, anything qualitative. Risk assessment is also qualitative. Yes, you once again you have created disciplines out of it, and you have tried to make it quantitative, but still it is very, I would say it is much more an art than a science, even though you have a huge mathematical models now to identify risk. Yeah. 321, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sir, not only we can compare, other than comparing with our previous performance, we can also use it to predict the future performance based on the whatever the trend has been.
Yes, basically whichever outcome comes out of analyzing the performance. So for analyzing the after analyzing the performance, can be a variety of outcomes. For example, prediction can be one outcome. Finding the worth of the company can be one outcome. Finding worth of a CEO can be another outcome. For example, you gave 5 years to a CEO, and now you looked at how much net profit did the company make in 5 years. Now you can determine whether you would want to retain the CEO or it's time to fire her up. So when you analyze a company, there is a variety of ways in which you can use this analysis. But the point is, this analysis is possible only when you have comparable yardstick, one single yardstick, and that yardstick happens to be monetary term. And that is why we stick to this concept called money measurement. Fine. Simple to understand, but it's very important for you to understand its cruciality. Two ways it is crucial. One crucial is that whenever you have money measurement concept, you should always keep it in mind that it is always available at an expense. The expense is all the qualitative aspects are missing. But the benefit is now you can go ahead and add, compare, verify, and do all sort of stuff. Okay. One small pointer before moving ahead. In general, I think it's time I should stop this and move to my notes. In general, whenever we prepare the financial statement, we have already said money measurement basic concept. Within money measurement also, whenever we record the transaction, we only record them, or rather we completely ignore the inflation. Okay, we don't adjust for the inflation for a simple reason, because the reason or the purpose of financial statement is to report what happened. So financial statements are reporting documents. They are not what if or what could have happened or what might be good or what might be bad. They are not estimates or anything. You can use them to make estimates, but that would be a separate exercise. Within themselves, financial statements are simply a reporting document. They merely tell us that what the business did in past accounting period. That's all. Okay, that is why it doesn't involve account adjusting for inflation. Okay, any questions? Okay, good. This one was the easy one. Now we go to a little bit more subtle one. It's not that difficult, but it's definitely a little bit subtle.